mientras más sube el petróleo, pues mejor, y además está mejor cotizado el petróleo de los Urales, que eso ni se pone en Occidente, que tienen muy buen petróleo, muy cotizable, y te cotizan siempre el Brent del Mar del Norte, que ya está prácticamente agotado, o del otro petróleo del West Intermediate Texas, que también está a punto de agotarse. Ahora, en ese sentido, Estados Unidos no tiene problemas porque tiene el fracking famoso, que es contaminante, y ya sabemos todo lo que causa, incluso sismos, ¿no? Y ahí es donde también estamos viendo este tipo de declaraciones que a mí ya me preocupa más, porque ya estamos pasando una fase de terrorismo que acusan que están en California, los iraníes, que están en Berlín. Mañana yo te adelanto incluso un fake news que van a sacar. No es que yo lo sepa, es que sé cómo piensan y los conozco. Ya llevo 78 años en este juego. Entonces, mañana van a decir que hay una alianza de ISIS que instalaron Israel y Estados Unidos para gobernar a Siria. Fíjate de qué tamaño, ¿eh? Bueno, ni así si uno le pregunta a quien sea en la calle de quién maneja ISIS o quién maneja al-Nusra o quién maneja Osama Bin Laden, te van a decir la misma cantaleta del 11 de septiembre. ¿Por qué? Porque esa es la clave de Occidente, es la desinformación permanente. Entonces van a salir con que ya hay una alianza de ISIS con los chiitas y ahora estamos en la fase terrorista. Entonces hay que tomar medidas militares urgencia. Y por último, lo que más me preocupa, y no concluí la idea, Sandro, si me lo permites,
sí, claro.
un segundo, la nota de Ray McGovern en Izvestia, en Rusia, que comenta que Israel en estos momentos está dispuesta a lanzar su famosa opción Sansón o sus bombas nucleares clandestinas.
Bueno, pues seguiremos muy de cerca todas estas cuestiones de las que nos has hablado. Querría hablar de muchísimas más, pero es que Donald Trump no nos ha dejado tiempo para poder seguir hablando. Así que, si te parece bien, me voy a despedir de ti, el doctor Alfredo Jalife, experto en geopolítica, y nos citamos para un próximo encuentro.
Un abrazo, Sandro, lo mejor.
Un abrazo grande, Alfredo. Bueno, y ahora sí, conectamos con Kentucky porque Donald Trump, el presidente de los Estados Unidos, ya está listo para comparecer.
But it's great to be back in this beautiful Commonwealth with so many proud, hardworking, unbelievable American patriots. Thank you. And we're here today with the men and women of a phenomenal company that has been helping Kentucky grow and prosper for 6 incredible decades. In other words, they've been here for a long time. Verst Logistics. Verst Logistics. Good company. Just met a lot of the people that run it. They're good people. They love you. They love you, actually. If they didn't, I wouldn't be here, probably. I don't think I'd be here. If they didn't love you, I'd walk off this stage right now. With your help, this family-owned business has risen from a small trucking operation into a juggernaut of warehousing, packaging, one of the biggest, transportation, all these big labels they put on. But I'll tell you, America's favorite brands right here. And this has been an unbelievable group of people that built this wonderful company. And I want to thank them very much. It's an honor to be here. And like the people of Kentucky, you do it with skill and precision and pride, using equipment stamped with those beautiful words, made in the USA. Do you remember? Made in the USA. We're putting it all over the place. And we're making more and more things in the USA, more than we ever had. More people are working today in the USA than at any time in the history of our country. And by the way, do we have a great military? The best. Better than any military in the world by far. I didn't know that we're going to have to be showing it off so much, to be honest with you. I built it in my first term. We built this military, and I didn't know that we'd have to use it quite as much as we're using it, but we're using it well, and there's no better military. There's nobody even close, so we're very proud of it. So we have in this company 2,600 employees, and they pour out their sweat and their soul into shipping the products America knows and loves, and they're doing more business than they've ever done before. And thanks to the record-setting tax cuts that we passed in the great, big, beautiful bill, biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, tax cuts. You know, as I grew up, I'd watch politicians and I'd always hear that, we're going to cut your taxes, cut your taxes. This is the first group of opponents. It's the first group, the Democrats. They're always saying, we're going to raise your taxes. Historically, a politician has to. Ideally, you're going to follow through. But you have to say, we're cutting taxes. They say, we're going to raise that. They were going to give you, if they won, Kamala and Joe, Sleepy Joe. But they were going to raise your taxes more than any. It was the biggest tax increase in the history of our country. And I kept saying, are they really saying this? I don't know. What do I know about politics? I haven't been doing it that long. But they were going to give you the biggest tax cut. And now again, the midterms are coming. They want to raise your taxes higher than you've ever had before. We have to win. The midterms are going to be very, very important to keep it going. But thanks to the tax cuts, which are record-setting, we passed the great, big, beautiful bill, and I'm pleased to report that Verse Logistics is investing more than $10 million into expanding its operations this year, right here, $10 million. And you're buying brand new tractor trailers and opening up warehouses in 2 additional states, Texas and North Carolina. And that's what it's all about. And that's why we did it. And with the help of our tax cuts, all of those trucks and warehouses and equipment purchases, everything that we're doing, and everything that you see in this country that's being built, you get what's called expensing, meaning a deduction in the first year. 1 year, it's the bit. Now, to a lot of people, that doesn't mean. To me, it means something else. It means jobs. That's why we have so many jobs, the best jobs ever. Perhaps most importantly to the workers here today, I'm pleased to report that the great, big, beautiful bill also delivers no tax on overtime. Whoever thought that was going to happen?
Bueno, pues Donald Trump ha comenzado esta conferencia asegurando que tienen el mejor ejército del mundo, que el mejor ejército del mundo ahora mismo es el de los Estados Unidos. También ha incidido en un punto que están viendo en sus pantallas, que los republicanos tienen que ganar las elecciones de medio mandato. Ya saben que ahora mismo, según las encuestas, parece que el resultado no va a ser ese. Y atención, porque tenemos una noticia de última hora directamente desde el gobernador Gavin Newsom en California, porque ya saben que en el día de hoy se ha alertado de un potencial ataque de Irán a California. Bien, pues el gobernador ha hablado y ha asegurado que era consciente de esa información, que el FBI le ha transmitido esa información y que, por tanto, estaban al tanto del peligro al que se enfrentaba el estado de la costa oeste, de hecho, de Estados Unidos. Por tanto, un Gavin Newsom que asegura que estaba al tanto de esa información. Volvemos a conectar ahora sí con Kentucky, con Donald Trump.
They follow me a lot. We have a lot of people. They just like a tour, but they're front row Joes. They're like professionals at getting on the front row. Thank you. And there's a lot of them too. Thank you very much. Great honor. So a short time ago, under a man named Sleepy Joe Biden, has anyone heard of him? Has anyone heard of him? How about Barack Hussein Obama? He went to Jesse Jackson's funeral. He spoke, and it was like a political hit job. And the family of Jesse Jackson got angry as hell at him because they understand they hated each other. You know, he was there. But I loved watching that. That was so. The family goes outside and they start screaming at him. A short time ago, under Biden and his allies in Congress, we were dead as a doornail. We were a dead country, I'll tell you, and it looked like we weren't going to come back. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. This is the hottest country anywhere in the world. most powerful military. The stock market has set 53 all-time record highs since the election, all time. And the typical American's 401k is up by almost $35,000 since I took office. And in 4 years, Joe Biden got less than $1 trillion of new investment into the United States. So think of this, $1 trillion over a period of much less, over a period of 4 years. We got $18 trillion. And Jake Paul knows what that means. $18 trillion in 11 months, because they haven't calculated the 12 months. So we have 18 trillion in 11 months. Say in a year, what difference does it make? Compared to substantially less than 1 trillion in 4 years. You would say they didn't do a good job, Jake. I didn't ask Jake who he voted for, but I don't think it was Kamala. No, I don't think so. I think your whole reputation would be shot if you said, oh, I voted for Kamala. That would be the end of your whole career, Jake. But here in the heartland of America, you're already seeing the results of what we've done. I just came from Thermo Fisher Scientific in Reading, Ohio, right across the way. The great American company that's investing $2 billion in domestic manufacturing, all because of what we've done with the tariffs and with the deductions and all of the other things that we've done. Ford Motor Company, and by the way, we have more jobs in terms of construction. We're building more factories now in this country than at any time in the history of our country. More factories are being built. And Ford Motor Company, a good old staple, has announced a $2 billion assembly plant in Louisville, Kentucky, which will support more than 2,200 Kentucky jobs. And I was with Ford the other day. I was in Detroit, and Bill Ford, the head of it, he had an advantage over everybody else in getting the job, but that's okay. He was born Ford, but he was showing me a plant that was built in like 1914, very old, one of the biggest plants in the country, but one of the oldest. And they were getting ready to shut it down 1.5 years ago. And then he heard Trump was running, and he sort of said, let's wait. So they were getting ready to shut it down. It was on minimal time. It was just a question of time, but he said, let's wait. And he waited. And they just announced 2 weeks ago that they're now going to run 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Bueno, pues el presidente de los Estados Unidos, con referencia a Jake Paul, que para quien no sepa quién es este señor, es un boxeador, es un influencer, hermano de Logan Paul, que es otro influencer también, y estaba hablando básicamente Donald Trump de una cuestión realmente importante para esas elecciones de medio mandato que quiere ganar. La economía. Hoy hemos recibido el dato de que el índice del precio del consumidor en Estados Unidos se ha mantenido, eso sí, a expensas y a la espera de los efectos de la guerra en Irán. Pero de nuevo, la economía, uno de los bastiones realmente importantes para decidir quién se queda con la Cámara de los Representantes y quién con el Senado en Estados Unidos. Donald Trump, que sigue presumiendo de su gestión. Y vamos a conectar con él de nuevo para ver qué nos sigue contando en Kentucky.
Who the hell else could have done this? Nobody else. Nobody else. I say it kiddingly, but I'm actually not kidding. Nobody else could. He's done a good job, Tim Cook, but $650 billion, think of it. And just 2 days ago, GE Aerospace, they're doing phenomenally, announced a $1 billion investment in American manufacturing, including $115 million right across the river in the Queen City, Cincinnati. I love Cincinnati. So jobs, factories, and new investments are pouring in as they do. We have added 70,000 new construction jobs in just a short period of time, including 8,000 brand new construction jobs in Kentucky. Okay? Kentucky. I love the way a real Kentuckian pronounces it, but if I do it, but I love Kentucky. More Americans are working today than any time in history, and that number is going to be, wait till you see the numbers by the end of the year. we did an excursion. You know what an excursion is? We had to take a little trip to get rid of some evil, very evil people. It should have been done for 47 years. They've been killing our people. 47 years. 47 years. And I can only say this. They were all prepared. They're very strong. You know, they're going to try and take over the whole Middle East. They were going to knock out Israel. They don't know what the hell hit them, right? They don't know what hit them. They got hit by the American military. They don't know. They say, what the hell is happening? They didn't expect anything like this. To bring down energy costs for American workers and families and businesses like this one, we ended the Green New scam. You know the scam? Greatest scam in American history. Well, maybe the election results of the second election were. I would say what was the greater scam? The Green New scam or the 2020 rigged election? I would say the 2020. I think the election. I think the election, but what difference? But the main thing is, we said, get out and vote. We're going to do it again. And we're going to make it too big to rig. And that's what we did. We got the highest vote in history. We didn't need that big. We made it too big to rig. We terminated the insane electric vehicle mandate where you were mandated. And I like electric cars. I think they're great. I like Elon. I said, Elon, look, not everybody wants an electric car. And I like him, and it's a great product, everything, but they have to have, we ended the mandate. We ended the mandate. Now you can have gasoline, you can have hybrid, you can have whatever the hell you want, you can have electric. They wanted you to buy an electric car by 2030. There's only one problem, you can't charge it. You ever see a charger? You're driving down the road, you're running a little low, and they say, electric charging plant, 150 miles up the road. That's a bad feeling. And we massively increased production of American oil, natural gas, and clean, beautiful Kentucky coal. And we're not allowed in the Trump administration, we're not allowed to use the word coal without preceding it with two words, clean, beautiful. We say clean, beautiful coal. And we had Doug Burgum the other day, Secretary of the Interior, who's great, and Chris Wright, Secretary of Energy. And they were giving a long speech on coal. And I tried to stop them. I was in the audience. They kept saying, clean, beautiful coal, clean, beautiful coal, clean, beautiful. And after about like 40 times, I said, wait a minute, just say coal. It's too much. It's too much. But it's clean, beautiful coal, and it's back, and it's roaring back. You know, it's interesting. China uses a lot of coal. China's very smart. They use coal. What they don't use much of, if at all, are windmills. So they make all the windmills, and they sell that garbage to us. Round and round it goes, keeps losing money. Every time it goes around, it loses $25. That's a lot, you know, and kills a lot of birds, kills them all. You know, if you shoot a beautiful bald eagle, they put you in jail for 5 years. Windmills kill them by the thousands. Okay, figure that one out. Last year I took action to save 70.
Bueno, y mientras Donald Trump estaba hablando de ese carbón, que en sus palabras es bueno y bonito, y decía que ese carbón ha regresado a su país, también ha hablado de la guerra en Irán. En las últimas horas se ha estado discutiendo si era una excursión para el presidente de los Estados Unidos, si era una guerra. Trump ha dicho que era una excursión para evitar una guerra. Bien, pues Trump ha insistido en que esta excursión se ha realizado porque durante 47 años el objetivo de Irán era matar a los ciudadanos estadounidenses. Además, ha afirmado lo siguiente, que Irán aún no sabe lo que les ha golpeado y que no ha sido otra cosa que, de nuevo en sus palabras, el mejor ejército del mundo, que es el ejército de los Estados Unidos. Conectamos de nuevo con Kentucky.
Your beautiful wife, our first lady, says, I'm sorry, darling, you can't watch tonight. The wind has gone down and we have. But I want to watch myself on television. I want to watch myself debate. She says, I'm sorry, darling, we have absolutely no energy. There's no wind tonight. What a scam. That's a pretty big scam. That's one of the top. I say that's a top 5. It's about 5 that are real beauties. I also announced a lease agreement for $1.5 billion of private sector uranium enrichment facility in Paducah. Paducah. And as we take decisive action to stop the threat posed by the terrorist regime in Iran with Operation Epic Fury. Is that a great name? Well, it's only good if you win. You know, you can only do. And we've won. Let me say, we've won. You know, you never like to say too early you won. We won. We won the bet. In the first hour, it was over. But we won. But they gave me a list of names of generals. Sir, you can pick the name you'd like, sir. I said, the name of what? The name of the attack on Iran, sir. And they gave me like 20 names. And I'm like falling asleep. I didn't like any of them. Then I see Epic Fury. I said, I like that name. I like that name. And my administration, as you know better than anybody, is also working to keep the oil flowing. It's flowing all over. We knocked out, you know, they want to drop some mines. Very friendly people, mines, so boats blow up. And we knocked out as of, you know, every hour I have to change because they knock them out so fast. I've never seen anything. Think of it. They knocked out 54 ships in 2 days. And they're real ships. In fact, I got angry at my people. I said, are they any good? Yeah, they're warships. I said, why the hell did we kill them? Why didn't we just capture them and use them in our Navy? They said they wouldn't have qualified for that. But I got a little upset with my people. I said, why do we have to knock them? And actually, one of my generals said, sir, it's a lot more fun doing it this way. But we knocked out 58 naval ships. We knocked out their Navy, okay? Let's put it that way. But they also knocked out the mine layers. They call them mine layers. They put mines in the water. Lovely job. Isn't that nice? Blow up ships. And we knocked out 31 of them. And, you know, I was very proud of myself. I said, why didn't you use the weapon that we use on the drugs that come in by sea? Do you know that drugs by sea are down 98%? And I said, that's a hell of a weapon. And they said, well, give it a shot. It worked very well. We've knocked out, I think, 28 or 29, all of them, almost all of them. They'll all be gone. By the time I'm finished speaking, they'll be gone. These people work very fast. But I'm pleased to report that earlier today, the International Energy Agency agreed to coordinate the release of a record 400 million barrels of oil from various national petroleum reserves around the world, which will substantially reduce the oil prices as we end this threat to America and this threat to the world. We don't want to leave early, do we, huh? We got to finish the job, right? Over the past 11 days, our military has virtually destroyed Iran. Tough country. Their Air Force is gone. Totally gone. That took the better part of about 3 hours. They no longer have radar. They don't have anti-aircraft equipment. They don't have anything. Their missiles are down 90%. Their drones are down 85%. We're blowing up the factories where they're made left and right. And frankly, nobody has ever seen anything like it. Nobody's ever seen anything like what you're witnessing now, and that can include the original killing of Soleimani and al-Baghdadi, 2 of the worst killers in the world that I did, as well as Operation Midnight Hammer, where we totally obliterated Iran's nuclear potential. We obliterated it. They don't have nuclear potential. And then after Midnight Hammer, and then we left, we figured that'll be the end of them for a while. but they started again. That's why we got to finish it, right? We don't want to go back every 2 years, and that's because, you know, there'll be some day when you don't have me as president. You'll have perhaps you'll have a weak, pathetic person like we've had in the past, mostly all. Like Barack Hussein Obama, who signed one of the worst deals ever with Iran, where they were going to give up everything. Remember when he filled up a 757 with billions of dollars of cash and sent it to Iran? Billions, people forget that. That's when I realized the presidency is very powerful. When you could put over $1 billion in an airplane and fly it over and give it to a foreign.
Bueno, Trump que sigue con un tono totalmente triunfalista. Asegura que han ganado en Irán, que Estados Unidos ha ganado en Irán, que se han derribado 58 navíos, pero que en realidad se ha noqueado a toda su armada naval. Se ha hablado también de esa liberación por parte de la Agencia Internacional de Energía de 400 millones de barriles de petróleo y además asegura e insiste, nuestro país ha destruido prácticamente a Irán, no tienen nada. Aseguraba que el objetivo de Estados Unidos es terminar esta campaña bien para evitar algo que nos ha estado contando ya, que Estados Unidos pueda regresar a Irán en 2 o 5 años. Por tanto, de nuevo, tono triunfalista del presidente de los Estados Unidos que continúa hablando en Kentucky.
Think of it. Afghanistan, Biden, Afghanistan. The most embarrassing day in the history of our country. Embarrassing. 13 dead, but hundreds and hundreds are dead from, I count both sides, you know, I do. I count both sides, sorry. But hundreds and hundreds of people dead. And instead of leaving from Bagram, they fled. You know, I hate to even say it. There's no reason. We were in there. I was the one, we're going to get out. We're going to get out with strength and dignity. We're pounding the hell out of them. They didn't like Donald Trump, the Taliban. They would do anything I asked them to do. You know that. And this guy comes in, left all the equipment behind. I said, every piece of equipment will be taken out with us. They said, no, it's better to leave the plane. I said, why is it better? Well, I think it's more cost efficient to leave the plane. No. You got a brand new fighter jet, $150 million. You give it a tank of gas, little jet fuel, and you fly it out. They said, sir, I think it's better to leave the plane. These are the exact opposite generals as we have now. Do we love General Raisin Cane? He's great. But oil prices are already coming back down, and it's going to come down. But we're not leaving until that job is finished, and it's going to be very fast. It's going to be very fast. But we're not going to count on having competent presidents. We have to assume we're going to have incompetent ones, like the one we had last time that couldn't walk off a stage. Remember? He'd finish with a speech. The speech would last about 2 minutes. People would come out, not many, like 2 people. And he'd be finished with the speech, and then he could never find his way off the platform. He'd look around over here. Oh, there's so many stairs. Like I have 4 sets of stairs on this platform. Usually they have at least that. He couldn't find, or walking up. It was when I know the problem with this, it can happen. You could slip. I could slip. I came downstairs today that was soaking wet. You know, it's a little rainy today. And I have steel stairs, and I'm saying, hey. But I do it very slowly. I grab that thing because nobody cares if you set a speed record. The only thing I admired about Barack Hussein Obama, which was nothing actually, but the only thing is the way he bobbed down. Remember, he'd bob. Hey, you talk about unpresidential. He's bobbing, and I couldn't believe that he made it without at least a noticeable major fall. But Biden was the opposite. Biden couldn't even walk up the stairs. He fell 3 times walking up the. And the world watches that and they don't like seeing it, although they actually do like seeing it because they say, what the hell is going on? Or when he fell at the Air Force Academy, right? And the general was standing there, could have caught him, but he didn't want to drop the paper that he's holding in his hand. So Biden went down for the count. Now, we have a country now that's respected, and we don't play games, and we have the greatest military, and it's so nice to see. It's so nice to see. And they want to get back in office for the midterms, and you can't let them. Did you see that? You know, they went to Munich, right? You saw that, right? You saw Gavin Newsom. He admitted that Gavin Newsom. So I think his career is over. Okay, let's get off the teleprompter do you mind if I get off the teleprompter for a couple of minutes? Because this is, you know, I have these great speech writers. I drive them crazy because half of the time I'm not. But Gavin Newsom, in an interview, you have a doctor in the house, please? Doctor? Yeah, take your time, please.
Bueno, pues parece que hay algún tipo de problema sanitario ahora mismo en Kentucky. Se ha parado, de hecho, esta comparecencia, esta rueda de prensa, mientras están esperando y llamando a un médico para que atienda a uno de los asistentes. Ahora mismo esta rueda de prensa, esta comparecencia en Kentucky, vemos cómo se está intentando abanicar, de hecho, a la persona que está ahora mismo en el suelo. No sabemos si es un hombre o una mujer. Y bueno, mientras tanto, pues estamos viendo como la rueda de prensa está parada. Parece que ya sí se está acercando personal sanitario. Y mientras Trump retoma las palabras, vamos a recapitular un poco lo que ha dicho el presidente de los Estados Unidos, porque de nuevo ha insistido en que está dando una paliza a los talibanes y a Irán, que esta guerra no va a acabar hasta que se acabe con ese trabajo, pero que lo harán rápido, de forma rápida. Y de nuevo ha insistido que Estados Unidos tiene al mejor ejército del mundo, que no se está jugando a ningún tipo de juego y que van totalmente en serio. Un Trump que además había dicho que iba a salirse justo en este momento del teleprompter, de las palabras que tenía escritas en la pantalla, precisamente para hablar del que puede ser el gran rival de cara a 2028, de Gavin Newsom. Un Gavin Newsom al que Trump se ha referido ya con el mote de Gavin Newscom, que sería una especie de Gavin estafa nueva, basura nueva. Y decía precisamente que, según su punto de vista, que la carrera del gobernador de California, del actual gobernador de California, pues está por finalizada, se ha dado por finalizada. Por tanto, Trump al menos no lo ve de cara a la galería como el gran rival en las encuestas, pese a que parece que sí es así. De hecho, en el día de hoy, Marco Rubio de nuevo ha vuelto a subir otros 2 puntos. En algunos portales incluso parece ser que ya es el favorito para ganar las elecciones, pero al menos, según Polymarket, la ventaja la sigue teniendo J.D. Vance, eso sí, con un Gavin Newsom que ha bajado un poco y un Marco Rubio que sigue en ascenso. Parecía que al menos la persona que se ha desmayado sí parecía estar al menos medianamente bien, porque se han visto aplausos durante un momento. Desde luego Trump sigue esperando a ver qué ocurre con la persona que ha caído. De nuevo estamos viendo cómo se sigue abanicando a esa persona. Y bueno, básicamente por hacer recopilación de lo que ha ocurrido durante este comienzo del discurso, el presidente de los Estados Unidos ha insistido en que Estados Unidos tiene al mejor ejército de todo el mundo, que han hecho efectivamente una excursión a Irán y que es una excursión realizada para evitar una guerra que, eso sí, llevaba 47 años cociéndose, porque el presidente de los Estados Unidos hablaba que durante ese tiempo Irán, el gobierno dirigido por Ali Khamenei, ha matado a muchos de los ciudadanos. De nuevo insiste en que está siendo una absoluta paliza en esa operación Furia Épica, que además Trump nos contaba cómo había llegado precisamente al nombre de la misma. Y mientras vemos si Trump está listo o no para comenzar de nuevo el discurso, si parece que está hablando, no. Bueno, se está precisamente hablando sobre la posibilidad de poner algo de música también para aliviar una situación que desde luego es incómoda, precisamente para la persona que lo está sufriendo, que al final pues no es suficiente. Y sé que muchas veces el ser humano no debería actuar así, pero muchas veces la persona que encima está sufriendo esto no piensa en lo que está sufriendo, sino en el momento que pueda considerar que es incómodo para el resto. Vemos como parece que ya han levantado a la persona Y bueno, mientras esto sucede y esperamos a que la rueda de prensa continúe en Kentucky, vamos a hablar precisamente de una de las noticias que ya hemos introducido en el día de hoy, de ese susto en California, porque el FBI ha enviado una advertencia a departamentos de policía en el estado alertando de que Irán podría estar considerando un posible ataque con drones en territorio estadounidense como represalia por los ataques militares de Estados Unidos contra la República Islámica. Es lo que afirma un boletín de inteligencia revisado por ABC News. El aviso, que ha sido distribuido a finales de febrero, señala que a principios de ese mes Irán habría aspirado a llevar a cabo un ataque sorpresa con vehículos aéreos no tripulados desde un buque no identificado frente a la costa oeste de Estados Unidos, con posibles objetivos en California, aunque no se han aportado detalles concretos sobre el momento, los métodos ni los objetivos específicos, ni se ha corroborado la información en su totalidad. Las autoridades han subrayado que esta información se basa en datos preliminares de inteligencia y que por el momento no existe evidencia concreta de que el plan se haya concretado ni de que Irán tenga capacidad actual para ejecutar un ataque de este tipo con drones a larga distancia. Precisamente un Gavin Newsom que escuchábamos diciendo que efectivamente que era consciente de la información transmitida por el FBI con respecto a estos sucesos, y un Gavin Newsom que sí, sigue siendo uno de los nombres a analizar en el repaso electoral del día de hoy. Vamos a ver. De nuevo, el nombre del día ha vuelto a ser Marco Rubio. Parecía que durante el día de hoy más o menos el secretario de Estado se mantenía, pero de repente en las últimas 2 horas hemos pasado del 13,9 probabilidades de que Rubio gane las elecciones al 15,8, otra subida de casi 2 puntos. Estamos hablando de una subida de 5 puntos en apenas 2 días, en 48 horas. De nuevo, hemos estado hablando como para muchos portales, Marco Rubio ya ha desbancado no solo a Gavin Newsom, sino también precisamente al vicepresidente de los Estados Unidos, a J.D. Vance, como ganador potencial de las elecciones en 2028. Hablábamos precisamente de Vance y ayer comentábamos que el hecho de que Marco Rubio suba no está provocando que Vance baje. ¿Por qué? Pues de nuevo lo repetimos, por el hecho de que quizá Rubio, de cara al electorado, no es ese político republicano maga y, en cambio, está siendo un político republicano, diríamos, al uso. Entonces, rápidamente, Vance se mantendría en el 21,1% y tendríamos una pequeña caída, nada, apenas de un 0,1%, de un Gavin Newsom que partiría del 17,3 al 17,2. Seguiremos hablando de estas cuestiones después de esta pausa de publicidad.
He said he has a lot of mental problems. And I was attacked by a reporter that said, well, what's wrong with that? I said, nothing's wrong with it. But I don't want the President of the United States to have a cognitive deficiency. Okay. Right? And when he admitted this, I said, I think he just lost the Democrat nomination. What do I know? But you know what? I'm for everybody, but you know, when it comes to president, you got to be sharp. You got to be sharp as hell. One of the greatest victories we have achieved for hardworking Americans with the help of our great Republican majorities in Congress is no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and as I told you before, no tax on overtime, which affects you. 800,000 Kentucky seniors. And every Democrat voted against it. So remember, and they'll terminate it. If they take power, they'll terminate it. 800,000 Kentucky. So you have, think of that. You have no tax on Social Security. 800,000 seniors, and they will end it. We got to win the midterms. We also made interest on auto loans tax deductible. First time that's ever happened, but I did put a little proviso. The car has to be made in America for you to get it. Our tax cuts are projected to raise incomes in the Commonwealth by $5,400, boost household take-home pay for you by nearly $10,000 and protect more than 84,000 Kentucky jobs at a minimum. And some of the jobs we're creating or protecting are right here at Verse Logistics. So let me call up your outstanding CEO, Paul. Come on up real fast, Paul. Come on. Paul Verse. Come on up here, Paul. Let's go. Do it fast, Paul. They don't want to hear from you.
I wish I could have gone before him, Mr. President. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you for allowing...
Bueno, publicidad por supuesto que no, porque Donald Trump ha regresado, ha continuado hablando. Parece ser que al menos la situación está controlada en Kentucky. Deseamos que sea así. Y precisamente estaba hablando Donald Trump de las políticas del propio territorio de cara a esas elecciones de medio mandato que están siendo quizá, incluso con Irán, el segundo tema más importante de lo que estamos viendo de rueda de prensa, de comparecencia por parte del presidente de los Estados Unidos. Al final estamos a apenas medio año de llegar a esa cita electoral, de hecho un poquito menos. Y Donald Trump ha insistido, de nuevo ha lanzado el mensaje: el que quiere luchar por los trabajos de los trabajadores de Kentucky soy yo, son los republicanos, no son los demócratas. Todo mientras ha llamado precisamente al CEO de una de las compañías que precisamente ha visitado en el día de hoy y con las que, bueno, pues mantiene esta relación, con las que además también destaca esa política, en sus palabras, de luchar por el trabajador estadounidense y el trabajador de Kentucky. Bueno, pese a que Donald Trump decía que nadie quería escuchar a este CEO, vamos a conectar brevemente con él a ver qué nos cuenta desde Kentucky.
In providing educational scholarship money for students attending local high schools and colleges. Many of our versed family owners and members who are with us today understands how vital the extension of the estate tax credit exemption is for the continuity and succession planning of our great family business. Our sweat and equity are tied to this building, many others, and our business. Without this extension, it is possible our thriving business would one day need to be sold to pay family estate taxes. President Trump, this is all possible because of your vision to make America great again. On behalf of our family, company, and employees, we want to take this opportunity to welcome you to Northern Kentucky and the Cincinnati region. You are in the heart of Kentucky, home of bluegrass, faster horses, and the best damn bourbon in the world. You are in Trump country right now. Wrapping this up, if we can just take a pause, and I'm going to say a quick little prayer for President Trump, if I could. May God bless and keep you healthy and safe. And may God bless our beloved United States of America and everything it stands for. Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, Paul. Wow, he did a good job. You think that's easy to do? That's not easy. Oftentimes I'll say to the head of a company, please come up and say, no, I don't want to do it. Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you for the prayer. Also with us today is Sammy Biddle, who works at the restaurant and bar in nearby Newport, Kentucky. Sammy makes over half of her income through tips. And now, thanks to the no tax on tips, her tax liability has been slashed by more than 50%. The average filer's tax refund this year has soared to nearly $4,000. You're saving $4,000, and Sammy's receiving even more, over $5,000. So Sammy's going to make over $5,000 more than anticipated, all because of the great, big, beautiful bill that the Republicans got passed. But with not one Democrat vote, they want to raise your taxes. They're going to raise your taxes. So, Sammy, come on up for a second and say hello, Sammy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Oh, there we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Sammy Biddle, and I am a general manager and bartender at a local distillery in Newport, Kentucky called Pensive Distilling. And like most servers and bartenders, a big portion of my annual salary comes from working double shifts and tips. A big dream of mine has always been to save up enough money to buy a nice piece of land and eventually build a home on that land. And this year, due to our president's no taxes on tips and overtime policy, I got more year-end taxes back than I ever have, which has helped me get that much closer to my American dream. Thank you, Mr. President.
That's pretty good, right? Thank you, Sammy. So millions and millions of Kentucky families will have more money in their pockets thanks to what we did with respect to tax cuts. And I just described what every single Democrat in Congress voted against it. Every single one, not one voted for it. They want tax increases, along with just one Republican voted against. You know what the name is? He is the worst person. His name is, what the hell? How did he ever end up in Kentucky? His name is Thomas Massie. How did he ever end up here, Paul? Anyway, no, Massie voted against tax cuts for seniors. He voted against tax cuts for overtime workers. And he voted against tax cuts for earners, tip earners. No, he wanted to increase the taxes. He voted with the Democrats. He voted against our historic funding for border security. He voted against border security, where we took the worst border in the history of our country, made it the best border in the history of our country in 2.5 months. He voted against it. And he voted against eligibility verification for welfare recipients. Nobody has to be eligible. Just pick up whatever you want. The people in this room don't like that. Thomas Massie also voted with the radical left Democrats in Congress to keep the federal government shut down during the open border crusade while our military went without pay. He voted for our military not to get their pay. And now Massie, he's the worst. And I don't say that. I never hit a guy like this. The guy's the most. We call him Rand Paul Jr. He votes against everything. But at least I like Rand a little bit. Can't love a guy that votes. I got him elected twice. If I didn't endorse him, he was not going to get elected. Do you remember that? I came and I did a little rally, and Rand votes against us all the time too. But at least he's okay. I wouldn't say the greatest. And now Thomas Massie is attacking a great Navy SEAL hero. This is a real hero, Ed Galrine, who's running against him in the primary. You know why? Because he's not doing right for our president. He didn't want to run for office. He's a hero. He's a farmer hero. He's a tremendous war hero, but he's a farmer right here. He's like central casting. I said, this is the guy I'm looking. I want to just give me somebody with a warm body to beat Massie. And I got somebody with a warm body, but a big, beautiful brain and a great patriot. He's unbelievable. And he did it because he said he's disrespecting our country. He votes against everything. And Ed became an independent a few years ago because he was so angry at the way the Republican Party was operating. And I don't disagree with him. Other people did too. But then Ed came back, and he came back strong because I got involved. And he came back stronger than he ever was. And now he's all the way, he's in this party and he's in it. And he said, I came back because of the strength and wisdom that Donald Trump displayed. And I appreciate that. That's a nice, I think I'm going to use him in an ad. I think I'll use that statement. I'm going to use that statement in an ad. Strength and wisdom. I put wisdom in quotes because I didn't say it, he did. But many people have joined and rejoined our party, but Massey did not, because he only votes no. He just votes no. Doesn't matter. I could give him the best things in the history of a Republican voter, and he'd vote no. There's something wrong with him. It'll be interesting to see what he does with the Save America Act, which is very simply, I think he has to vote for it, but he's a nut job, so you never know. All voters must show voter ID. 98%. That's 98%.
Bueno, pues Donald Trump, que está hablando de nuevo en esta parte del discurso realmente dirigida de nuevo a las elecciones de medio mandato, y ha contado con dos invitados, entre ellos Samantha Vero, que es la directora general de una destilería de Kentucky. No ha sido la única invitada al escenario por parte del presidente de los Estados Unidos, porque también ha estado Paul Burst, que es el jefe y el CEO de Burst Group Logistics. De nuevo, todo esto en un esfuerzo por mostrar los distintos puntos de las clases sociales en Kentucky, con el objetivo también de mostrar que efectivamente los republicanos son la vía a seguir, la vía a votar para esas elecciones de medio mandato que se celebrarán el 3 de noviembre en Estados Unidos. Un Trump que de nuevo sigue insistiendo en la importancia del voto a los republicanos. Conectamos de nuevo con el presidente en Kentucky.
That's it. And I think we're going to get it approved in the House. And I hear the Senate has a hard time. How can you have a hard time with that? How can you have a hard time? But Massey wants to vote no, but on this one he may be forced. I mean, how can you do it? So I just want to say this. Thomas Massey is a disaster for our party. He comes from a state that I won by a landslide, got the highest vote in the history of your Commonwealth, the highest vote. I got the highest vote. That means that people like me, and I love them. I love them. I love them more than they love me, but I still got the highest. Remember with your mother, I love you more than you love me. We revert back to childhood. But Massey's a complete and total disaster as a congressman, and frankly, as a human being. You know, he's got one thing going. He went to a good college, but I know a lot of stupid people that went to a good college. And my uncle was the longest serving professor in the history of that particular college, university, MIT. 41 years. My uncle was there 41 years, so that means I have much better blood if you go by that. But I went to the hardest college of all to get into, the Wharton School of Finance. That means I'm real smart. We got to get rid of this loser. This guy is bad. He's disloyal to the Republican Party. He's disloyal to the people of Kentucky. And most importantly, he is disloyal to the United States of America. And he's got to be voted out of office as soon as possible. On the other hand, Ed Galron has my complete and total endorsement. He's a true American hero, and he's a great patriot, and he's doing it because he saw what this guy was doing to our country, and he said, I'm going to run. He's now a farmer, successful farmer, and I can tell you, he's strong as hell. He shook my hand.
Vale, les pongo un contexto porque esto es una elección en específico, unas elecciones en concreto en el estado de Kentucky. Donald Trump ha estado hablando mucho del congresista Thomas Massey. ¿Por qué? Porque fue el único republicano que votó en contra de esa Big Beautiful Bill, de esa gran reforma económica, de esa propuesta económica por parte de Donald Trump. Y desde ese momento se ha convertido en el enemigo número 1 dentro del Partido Republicano por parte de Trump. ¿Qué ha dicho? Muy sencillo. Ha dado su apoyo al rival republicano de Massey, que es Ed Galbraith. Todo en unas elecciones que se celebrarán el próximo 19 de mayo. Estamos hablando ahora con muchos nombres y demás, pero vamos a irnos con un nombre del que precisamente hemos estado pendientes durante todo el día, de JP Morgan. Valeria Gómez, cuéntanos.
Bueno, pues Sandro, muy pendientes de JP Morgan y sobre todo de Jamie Dimon. Ha movido ficha después de este contexto en el que, bueno, pues reduce su exposición al crédito privado ante el temor de esa crisis en las empresas de software. Y es que, ojo, porque parece que a esta lista se le van sumando más y más fondos de crédito privado. Fíjense, este era el titular que conocíamos esta mañana por parte de CNBC, JP Morgan Chase, que frenaba esos préstamos, sobre todo a empresas de crédito privado, después de rebajar los préstamos a las compañías software. Y fíjense en este otro que acaba de publicar Reuters, y es que se suma otra empresa más después de esta larga lista: Blackstone, Blue Owl, BlackRock, JP Morgan. Pues aquí tenemos uno nuevo, Clearwater. Los reembolsos de fondos de créditos privados de esta compañía, de Clearwater, han alcanzado ya el 14% según informa Bloomberg News. ¿Qué quiere decir esto? Pues bien, que la ventana de licitación del fondo de préstamos corporativos de la compañía de 33.000 millones de dólares se ha cerrado ya esta jornada anterior, este martes pasado. Y es que JP Morgan Chase, bajo la dirección de Jamie Dimon, también ha dado otro paso más. Ha tomado medidas preventivas en el sector del crédito privado, ajustando pues todo este valor de los préstamos en empresas de software utilizados como colateral, ¿no? Bueno, pues este movimiento está reflejando ya la preocupación por la creciente disrupción en el sector tecnológico. Y ojo, porque está siendo precisamente impulsada por los avances en inteligencia artificial, que de alguna manera pues parece que están quedando atrás en medio de todo este conflicto. Además, se menciona una oleada de retiradas de inversores en vehículos de crédito privado, como por ejemplo los que hemos estado escuchando en esta larga lista durante estas últimas semanas, entre ellas BlackRock, que limitó sus reembolsos de uno de sus fondos de deuda, y también Blackstone, que enfrentó un aumento de solicitudes de retirada. Pues bien, las acciones de firma de crédito privado como Ares, Blue Owl, KKR y Carlyle llegaron a caer después de conocerse esta noticia. Enseguida vamos a ver también de qué manera está afectando en el postmercado al otro lado del Atlántico. ¿Y qué quiere decir esto? Pues bien, según estamos viendo en pantalla, la previsión de los riesgos es que JP Morgan está anticipándose a posibles pérdidas del mercado privado. Claro, ¿qué pasa? Que ahora hay mucha divergencia, ¿no? También, sobre todo porque se está tapando en medio de este conflicto con Oriente Medio y está quedando atrás este asunto, pero que por detrás sigue sonando. Y es básicamente por la inteligencia artificial y por los avances, sobre todo en otros sectores tecnológicos y de compañías software, que están amenazando con desintermediar a muchas empresas de software. El banco no quiere quedar atrapado en un ciclo de pérdidas cuando estas empresas no puedan cumplir con esos préstamos. Por tanto, ya hay una reducción de apalancamiento en Estados Unidos y salpica el crédito privado. A menudo involucra este apalancamiento y las empresas pues están pidiendo ese dinero prestado contra sus activos y que, bueno, pues amplifica las ganancias, pero también las pérdidas cuando los activos de valor pues caen. Al ajustar estos valores de los préstamos comerciales colaterales, JP Morgan está reduciendo la cantidad de dinero que estas empresas pueden pedir prestado contra esos activos. Por tanto, esto disminuye el riesgo para el banco. Por eso están actuando de esa manera. También ese reflejo de cautela que nos está dejando ver Jamie Dimon, este movimiento que muestra pues, un enfoque conservador, ¿no? Y también de gestión proactiva de riesgos. Y en lugar de esperar a que una crisis estalle, Jamie Dimon se ha adelantado. JP Morgan ya está actuando con antelación para mitigar las posibles pérdidas y sobre todo también para proteger la exposición a un mercado que podría estar en declive y que Jamie Dimon no quiere que ocurra. Por tanto, las lecciones del pasado parecen que han hecho mella en Jamie Dimon y que pues ha aprendido de ellas, ¿no? Y es que, bueno, pues según estábamos viendo estos ajustes financieros, recuerda las acciones de JP Morgan cuando pues estalló la pandemia, el COVID-19, y cuando también redujo el apalancamiento en el mercado de crédito para protegerse de la incertidumbre. El hecho de que Jamie Dimon, el CEO, haya guiado al banco en varias crisis sugiere que, bueno, pues está volviendo a utilizar esas lecciones del pasado para enfrentar la volatilidad actual en los mercados. Ojo, porque JP Morgan ya está actuando y, bueno, pues cierta cautela, sobre todo calma tensa para proteger los activos y para anticipar posibles problemas antes de que los préstamos a las empresas de software se conviertan en un mayor riesgo para la estabilidad financiera del banco. Y ojo, Sandro, porque ya se están sumando otros bancos a esta lista.
Bueno, pues seguiremos a ver esa lista con qué bancos consiste y qué bancos tiene en su haber. Pero estabas hablando de cautela y de calma. Bien, quien no tiene ni calma ni cautela es un Donald Trump que sigue hablándonos directamente desde Kentucky y con el que contactamos ahora mismo.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. And Chairman and CEO of Morris Industries, a good man, Nate Morris. Nate, thank you. Now, also with us is a local legend who did quite well suing the Washington Post and various and sundry others. Where's Nick Sandman? Where's Nick? Come here, come on, hurry up, Nick. He's a young guy, he can get up here. Guy walked away with a lot of money. They did a number on him. He said, we're not going to take it anymore. I love these guys. Nick, wow. Become a big celebrity, too. Nick, say a couple of words, Nick. We love Nick.
Well, thank you. And as I just said, really, the only thing I can say is, Mr. President, thank you. Thank you, and thank you to all of you, because it's us together which can beat the radical left. So thank you. We will always stand with you.
I watched that whole thing unfold, Nick, and I said, that guy is getting scammed. And you know what? He scammed them, because what he did was pretty amazing. Him and his group of friends, he had good, loyal friends, Nick, and that's great. I loved it. I loved watching what he did. And another one who's, this guy is a piece of work. He a very tough cookie. But instead of fighting like a guy his own size, he fights a guy who's like 70 pounds bigger, who won, he's like a two-time Olympian champion. He's this massive guy. And my friend is a guy named Jake Paul. And I said, and I'm watching, I didn't realize there was a slight size variance, like about 7 inches and about 70 pounds. This guy fought like, I tell you what, he is courageous. He's an incredible guy. He's got a brand new, beautiful fiance, and you're not allowed to use the word beautiful when describing women anymore. It's the end of your political career, but I'll say it anyway. What the hell? She's beautiful. She just won the Olympic gold medal. Where's she? Where's Utah? She gold medalist. Boy, I tell you, she's strong. That means she's strong. You better be careful. She's a beautiful person, and she's a big, strong athlete. I watched her win that gold, and they have an expression, if that were a fight, they'd stop it, right? She's great. But Jake Paul is a great guy, and, you know, part of the deal is, he said, do you mind if I do an interview with you? I said, Jake, I'm the president of the United States. I don't do interviews. Look at Joe Biden. He went 2.5 years without doing an interview because he was shot. But he was shot 30 years ago, too. He was no good. But I said, Jake, I'm president. How can I do your local podcast? But his local podcast is big stuff. And he's big stuff. Jake, you got to come up. Come here. You got to come.
Y atención, porque mientras Donald Trump está hablando de sus enlaces, de sus lazos con Jake Paul, ahora mismo tenemos una noticia de última hora, que es que el Pentágono estaría considerando a Goldman Sachs y a JP Morgan, precisamente nos hablaba hace un ratito de ello nuestra compañera Valeria Gómez, para acuerdos de defensa que valdrían alrededor de 200.000 millones de dólares. De nuevo, en una batalla en la que el Pentágono sigue buscando empresas con las que reforzar la seguridad de los Estados Unidos, ahora mismo la última hora pasaría porque el Pentágono estaría considerando a estas dos entidades bancarias para poder impulsar esos acuerdos de defensa que valdrían hasta 200.000 millones de dólares. Además, todo esto entraría dentro de una unidad que se llama informalmente Economic Defense Unit, que tendría un documento revisado por el medio Semafor con el que tendría un objetivo más que claro: facilitar las inversiones estratégicas en empresas, tecnologías y capacidades consideradas críticas para la seguridad nacional, con el objetivo de contrarrestar la creciente influencia económica de potencias como China. De nuevo, Ahora mismo, la última hora pasa por aquí, porque el Pentágono estaría considerando a estas dos entidades bancarias para reforzar la seguridad de Estados Unidos. Volvemos con su presidente.
No, he's a great guy. He's a courageous guy and a talented guy. He's a hell of a fighter, too, by the way. And I just want to say, I'm going to make a prediction that you will be, in the not too distant future, running for political office. Okay? And you have my complete and total endorsement, okay? No, that's what we want. He's an incredible guy. A lot of courage and smarts. So in 4 long years, Joe Biden and the radical Democrats in Congress gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country, driving up prices all across the board. They left us a mess. In 12 months, my administration has driven down core inflation down to the lowest level in more than 5 years. And in the last 3 months, inflation was less than 1.7%. Under our policies, prices for chicken, eggs, cheese, butter, potatoes, and fresh fruit are lower today by a lot than when I took office. Hotel rates, automobile prices, and rent payments are way down as well. As a result of my direction to purchase $200 billion in mortgage bonds, a risky move, perhaps, but not for me. Mortgage rates are now the lowest in more than 5 years, and the annual cost of a typical new mortgage is down almost $5,000. And to help our great citizens afford their American dream, I recently signed an executive order to ban large Wall Street investment firms from buying up single-family homes. Under my most favored nation agreements for drug prices, we're also slashing drug prices at record levels, with price differences of 400, 500, 600, and even 700%. Can you believe it? And I got that with the drug companies, and then I had to convince foreign nations that it's not fair, and I used the word tariff, the beautiful word. I always said one of my most favorite, most beautiful words. I used to say it's my favorite word, most beautiful word, and the fake news killed me. They said, what about your wife? What about God? What about religion? What about your children? I said, okay, it's my 5th favorite word. Now I don't get in trouble. No, they actually went after. I said, it's my favorite word in the dictionary, the word tariff. And they killed me. These guys are the worst. For decades, Americans have paid the highest drug costs in the world, but now, thanks to our policies, Americans are going to be paying the lowest drug prices paid anywhere in the world. And these incredible price reductions are available right now at, and I did not name this. This was done by Dr. Oz and Bobby. Where's Oz? He's back with the patient. See, he stays with the patient. Where's Oz? Oz, is it true that I did not name this after myself? Okay, thank you. If he said no, he'd be out of here. No, he's done a great job. And is she okay, Oz? Good. Thank you. Great. Great job. She's okay. So it's available right now, these really low prices, TrumpRx.gov. TrumpRx, and people are using it in record numbers. He named it, I didn't name it. I'm not sure I want my name on drug. Well, drug reduction is probably good, right? If prices ever go up, I'm going to say, get my name off there. But they're not going to go up. They're only going to go down. Other presidents tried to do it, but all they did was talk. It was all talk, no action. I got it done. I got it done for you. Got it done for Kentucky. But it's doing record type business, right? Biggest price reduction. I think it's one of the biggest things to happen in medicine because the prices are just a tiny fraction of what they were. So Trump RX is a major step toward a larger goal of reducing the cost of health care for hardworking Americans since the passage of the Unaffordable Care Act. You know what that is? I love the name. The Unaffordable Care Act. Oh, do the Democrats hate me? I wonder who hates me more, stupid Tom Massey or the Democrats? I think it's close. Well, they have Trump derangement syndrome. If we won that war, which we have basically done, if we won that war in one day.
Bueno, pues tres cuestiones que ha destacado el presidente de los Estados Unidos. En primer lugar, esa medida que lanzó en la que prohibía a las empresas de Wall Street invertir en viviendas unifamiliares, precisamente en un intento para que el coste de la vivienda sea más asequible para el contribuyente estadounidense. Eso en un lugar. Ha insistido de nuevo en la que es su palabra favorita por encima de su mujer o de Dios, la palabra de los aranceles. Ya saben que ahora mismo el presidente de los Estados Unidos está tratando de buscar la vía de sacarlos adelante después de la sentencia desfavorable por parte del Tribunal Supremo de los Estados Unidos. Y finalmente, una noticia que nos tranquiliza bastante. Al parecer, la persona que se ha desmayado ha sido una mujer que ha sido atendida, además, no por cualquier médico, sino por el propio Benjamin Netanyahu, que ya saben que se presentó a una de las carreras electorales precisamente en Estados Unidos, pero que también actualmente es un doctor y, de hecho, no es cualquier doctor, es el administrador de los centros de servicios de Medicare y Medicaid, dos de los servicios sanitarios más importantes en Estados Unidos. Bien, pues parece que Benjamin Netanyahu ha asistido a esta mujer en concreto, que todo parece estar bastante bien, así que con esa tranquilidad regresamos de nuevo a Kentucky.
Trillions of dollars a year, literally trillions, go to insurance companies and you get rotten health care. Obamacare is a loser. It was meant for the insurance companies, and the insurance companies totally control the Democrats, not the Republicans. Just over 1 year ago, we inherited a mess, a floundering economy, wide open borders, the worst inflation ever, crime, chaos everywhere. Today, just a short time later, look, we've been there for 1 year. We have the most secure border in U.S. history. The flow of fentanyl across our border is down by 59%. We get it better. The murder rate just saw its single largest drop ever recorded, the lowest in 125 years. Before my father, Fred, was born, before he was born. And that's despite the fact that we have a lot of people that shouldn't have been allowed in here that are murderers. Inflation is plummeting, incomes are rising, the economy is roaring back, and America is respected again, perhaps respected like never before. Every single day of my administration, with the help of the great people of Kentucky, yeah, I love Kentucky. We will keep on working, and we will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. And together, we will make America powerful again, front row Joe. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong, strong again, strong. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Kentucky. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Bueno, pues así finaliza una conferencia por parte de Donald Trump, una conferencia accidentada, aparentemente con buen final, porque parece que la mujer que se ha desmayado está actualmente estable, ha sido atendida por los servicios sanitarios del lugar y parece que está bien. El presidente de los Estados Unidos ha utilizado esta comparecencia sobre todo para destacar que efectivamente están dando una paliza a Irán. Esas han sido las palabras de Donald Trump, en las que aseguraba que el ejército de los Estados Unidos es el ejército más potente del mundo. De nuevo, que es una excursión excursión para evitar una guerra, pero eso sí, es una excursión que llevaba cociéndose 47 años, en los que el presidente ha afirmado que los grandes dirigentes de Irán habrían amenazado a la ciudadanía estadounidense. Y de nuevo, una paliza por parte del ejército estadounidense que Trump dice que no va a finalizar hasta que se termine el trabajo. Eso sí, ha dicho que el trabajo finalizará muy pronto. Con esas palabras, nos vamos y nos despedimos por el momento, después de haber escuchado al presidente de los Estados Unidos directamente desde Kentucky, pero toda la información de la actualidad internacional y geopolítica continúa aquí, en Negocios Televisión. Nos esperamos en ese entonces.
Is that a great name? Well, it's only good if you win. You know, you can only do. And we've won. Let me tell you, we've won. You know, you never like to say too early you won. We won. We won the bet. In the first hour, it was over. But we won. But they gave me a list of names of generals. Sir, you can pick the name you'd like, sir. I said, the name of what? The name of the attack on Iran, sir. And they gave me like 20 names. And I'm like falling asleep. I didn't like any of them. Then I see Epic Fury. I said, I like that name. I like that name.
Está con nosotros Lorenzo Ramírez. Lorenzo, ¿qué tal? Muy buenos días.
Buenos días, José Antonio, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bueno, esa es la gran clave, que la inteligencia artificial hoy en día no es rentable. La actuación de China en este episodio de la guerra comercial.
Muchísimas gracias, Lorenzo, como siempre, por toda esa fotografía hoy abundante, porque está en la actualidad que no para. Buen día, buen negocio.
A ti también, buen día y nada, a disfrutar y a trabajar. Abrazo.
La propia sociedad israelí es bastante más heterogénea de lo que nosotros pensamos. Nosotros yo creo que a veces tendemos a pensar que un israelí es un judío y no, realmente empiezas a escarbar y ves que es mucho más heterogéneo de lo que nosotros podemos pensar. La propia sociedad israelí es bastante más heterogénea de lo que nosotros pensamos. Nosotros yo creo que a veces tendemos a pensar que un israelí es un judío y no, realmente empiezas a escarbar y ves que es mucho más heterogéneo de lo que nosotros podemos pensar.
Dice el español, Merz afirma que Alemania ya no puede sostener el estado de bienestar y pasará la tijera al sistema de pensiones. Acaban de abrir la caja de Pandora. El lío es espectacular. Ahora, ¿es diferente al nuestro en España? No, para nada. El lío significa que en 10 años esto está aquí arriba.